Game 1 in the best of 3 series here at Forge of Champions between DegreeSports and Nvision is in the record books. Things looking very good so far for Nvision as they win in a dominating fashion. DegreeSports looking to bounce back in Game 2.
Yeah, it was definitely, beyond a certain point, it was pretty one-sided. There was definitely moments where you thought, okay, DegreeSports is doing well, they're getting the ball rolling, but remnants of UEM still there, man. They do so well, and then it's 15 minutes, and then they all... It's like students in a lecture, right? They show up and they pay attention for 15 minutes, they take some notes, and then they sort of just pull out the phone, fall asleep.
You would know more than me, I think, on that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully they'll pay more attention. They'll,
I hope they do. I really do, because I want to see a full three-game series here. I want to see DegreeSports bounce back. Gut feeling, I said at the beginning, I predicted 2-0 Nvision. Gut feeling right now is to stick with that prediction. Okay. However, for things to come true for you, the 2-1, there'd have to be a full reverse. Do you think that's possible?
Anything's possible.
Do you think it's likely?
If I can see you dab on a stream, anything is possible.
Yeah, good point.
I never thought that was likely.
No,
but
I'll give you that. That's actually the first time I've ever dabbed.
Yeah.
I don't think it was...
I can tell.
Yeah, I think everybody could tell, to be honest.
It was quite uncomfortable.
I could give you the second time on stream if you...
I'd prefer not to.
Okay, yeah, well, fine. That was just for you.
DegreeSports would prefer not to lose game number 2, so they might look to switch things up in the drafting phase, because we know that these guys don't only play that early game style. Watley only plays Mundo and Tom Kench.
Well,
that's probably not going to change. But
I think that's kind of our problem. We talked about how our featured matchup, so to speak, we didn't really have to feature it there because not a lot happened, and part of that's because Mundo got picked up.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, I want to see Tom Kench.
I don't think Mundo being picked up was the problem. It was just like the Veigar, the Event Horizons. He couldn't do anything. He just can't get out of that. And that was the same story for both members of the bot lane. The Cataclysm, if they didn't have Flash available, they are done for. Same thing with the mid laner as well of Heimerdinger. So maybe just look for something with a little bit more mobility, because that zone control was just way too oppressive. It was pretty scary to watch, to be honest, and I really did like the way that we saw Nvision really just kind of pressuring, and their rotation around the map just seemed better. They seemed to know where they were going and smoother. You sort of said, oh, they were fortunate to get that Infernal Dragon or whatever it was, but actually things seemed really well calculated, and they seemed to be right place, right time, one hell of a lot. Yeah, and the vision control as well, especially towards the later stages, pushing into the base, making sure that that little hiccup they had where Spark got caught out and Antero fell trying to protect him, they made sure that that was not going to happen again. So very cleanly closed out by Nvision. Looking like they've actually had, a bit of good time to practice their communication, how they want to close out the games with the brand new roster. So things are looking good. Yeah, and those 3 new members of the brand new roster, the top, the jungle, and mid, clearly synergized very well with the rest of the team and did a great job themselves. One of the moments that could have been a potential turning point was when the Baron went down. That was secured in the end by DegreeSports. They burned down pretty quickly the Mountain Dragon and all the percent damage that they could put out. Unfortunately, however, they weren't able to keep a solitary buff. I don't think I've ever seen a Baron go down twice in that short space of time before. As they killed the Baron, and then it was just... They themselves were killed. And then that's pretty much game over from that point on. So it was unfortunate. Hopefully not going to see that as a repeat performance of game number 2. We might just see a little bit cleaner on the shot calling. It was definitely an opportunistic call and slightly optimistic. If that doesn't sum up DegreeSports and the student gang, I don't know what does. Well, I'll tell you what I think does. It's probably their Twitter, which is they have a pretty strong Twitter game. Some would say, others would have other words for it. But they've gone out there. They've made a point of actually going out and competing. They've trash talked. They've occasionally maybe dropped a little bit of flame, and they've made things a bit spicier. But so far, they've not backed it up on the Rift, and that's what I want to see in game 2. Yeah, and that's what we're going to need to see if they're going to continue that trash talking ways. Is you got to back it up, man. You can't talk the talk if you don't walk the walk. No, that'll play the game. That'll all start, of course, in Champ Select. I expect to see a few of the champions banned out from Nvision that they were able to secure in the last game. Of course, we are, I believe, going to see a swap of sides. I think that we're going to get a first pick coming out of DegreeSports this time. Any particular changes that you'd really like to see in their composition? I think from Nvision's side of thing, you're pretty fine with how everything went. You don't want to change up your bans too much. You Probably don't want to give over the Yasuo because, you know, Handsome, he put some pressure on Mad My Day, but it wasn't too much for him to handle by any means, even if it was just a lane swap that could have got him out of there. So taking away Spark, Lucian is definitely something that will open up the bot lane a little bit more. That hyper-aggressive duo, the Lucian Braum, they didn't even need the Jarvan gank the second time around. They just solo killed High Anxiety out of lane so many times. Clearly
still a little concerned about that Cassiopeia, so that is banned away. On the other side, we do see Syndra and also the Silas both being taken away from Handsome, perhaps from Lee Brothers if he was going to play it in the jungle as well. Nvision basically sticking to what they know, not having to make any changes because nothing scared them enough in the last game.
Yeah, no, I didn't see anything in the previous game that was too much for Nvision to handle. Yes, Max Lee on the Xin Zhao. It's always been his, you know, run it down jam and just run at people, and it did have some aggression, but
This is interesting. Seeing that the Heimerdinger is banned away, the Yasuo is not. Now, obviously, we've got first pick coming in for DegreeSports. Last time we saw a Jarvan being picked up for Antero. Now we're going to see the Gragas, which was banned away from Lee Brothers last time.
So this sets them up for a really strong Yasuo pick here. Because Gragas and Yasuo, and Sejuani Yasuo is the other option that is we've seen quite often. Can be played as the mid jungle or even as just a bot lane duo, because that instant knock up on the body slam into the Yasuo ultimate is such a crucial pick tool to have in their arsenal, and you can extend the range on it with the flash as well. We've seen some great plays from PFI's Gragas yesterday, so Max Lee will be bringing that one onto the Rift.
Ban Sparks Lucian, and what will he take? The answer is going to be Kai'Sa. Also, we see the Olaf secured by Nvision.
Yeah, Kai'Sa is definitely a Spark champion. He'll be playing that down towards the bot lane. Proper Panda likes to go for those playmaking style supports. So the Braum was a little bit of a step in his unusual direction, but things like the Pike, Thresh, Nautilus, Rakan even is things that is definitely in his wheelhouse, and they could just be looking to punish the bot lane again.
The Yasuo is locked in.
Mr. Handsome himself in the mid lane going to be getting his hands on that one. So it will depend. Will they be able to stop Olaf from taking over the game and allow the brothers to have a chance to have some engagements with the Gragas? Because we've seen Olafs do incredibly well, and we've also seen them fall a little bit flat. So it's going to depend on what the response will be to any potential aggression from Antero.
Yuumi is going to be the next champion locked in, as we see the final part of this draft being the Nautilus secured by Nvision.
This could potentially be a Yuumi Yasuo bot lane and have High Anxiety go mid on something like the Corki potentially. We said in the previous draft, it is something that they've done before with swapping members out. I'm not fully expecting it to happen, but it could depend on what the next pick will be from Nvision, whether it's something that will immediately throw a spanner in the works and make them switch things up.
I do believe the last time that I saw Handsome playing the Yasuo, it did end up in the bot lane with some swap arounds going on with, I believe, another player. However, this time, I guess, you know, we will find out very, very shortly whether or not that is going to be finding itself in the mid lane or top lane. We do see the Ezreal taken away.
So it looks like Nvision aren't expecting it to be
exactly
in the bot
lane.
It should be in the mid.
And in response, the Kiana as well taken away. Second time today that's been removed from Mad My Day's potential champion pool.
Yeah, so Mad My Day is a very versatile player. So the Cassio is a ban that's targeted at him, as well as the Kiana. He can play multiple different styles in the mid lane. The very utility heavy style as well was something that he could just refer back to in this game and just help out as the Olaf just runs over the team.
Well, it looks like Nvision have had a little look and gone, what do we not want to be paired with a Yuumi?
Veigar.
Sivir taken away. Veigar was one of the main things for me which really scuppered a lot of opportunities that DegreeSports had in the last game. I'd like to see it banned away from Mad My Day here. It makes a lot of sense in my eyes.
And they've definitely not got as strong of zone control, especially around those objectives again this time for Nvision. But there is still room for it to be picked up in the draft, but they have a very strong pick composition. Any sort of lockdown from Proper Panda on the Nautilus, any slows with Antero, you have the potential that Spark can just dash into the back line and start assassinating people.
Okay, so there's the Ahri lock-in, and now are we going to see that Garen, which has been paired with the Yuumi successfully in the UKLC, in the LEC itself, and now it's also been played by Uzi over in China as well. So it's a champion that's seen a lot of play. Is it going to get locked in? Yes. Now, yes, it is.
This is interesting because Yuumi got some pretty hefty nerfs on this patch, specifically towards the slow on the Prowling Projectile. It's gone down from something like 80% decaying to a 20% flat at all ranks. So it might not be worth... Hold on. Is that a Watley champ?
I mean, Garen's not really a Watley champ.
You can build health on either of those. That's a...
Oh, okay, my mind is
Watley's
officially blown.
It again. Wow.
In about 40 seconds, we're going to know what the hell that DegreeSports
I'm pretty sure it's going to be
Garen
Yumi bot lane. And
you're going Garen Yumi bot lane.
It is slightly nerfed in terms of the utility that you get, but the damage should be relatively okay. And then once Garen does start to get to that level 13 point, that's when things get to the key point.
You think
Garen Yumi.
You think you've got it sussed out? I am not entirely sure. We're going to find out in just a second. And we can see by that last second lock-in of the Gangplank that actually Nvision weren't 100% sure themselves what they were doing. Opting into the Gangplank, which Artorias did play very nicely in the last game. It does look like it's going to be going up against a Volibear, as you predicted.
Okay, so I think this makes sense.
It does.
As Wu's got the double combat summoners as well.
As much sense as anything DegreeSports ever does.
Yeah, nothing makes sense. But no, he's got the double combat summoners, so they have the potential to, you know, get some advantages in the bottom lane if Lee Brothers is able to maybe group up with Handsome and go for some plays at about level 6. You've also got another single target knock up on the Volibear with the flip, and also the E is a very slight one as well that you can, if you have incredible reactions, use the Yasuo ultimate on. It's pretty tough. It's pretty hard to do.
You know me. You've known me a fair while now, Saga. I'm not speechless very often, but I'm pretty close with this composition that's been drafted by DegreeSports. I am struggling for what to say about that comp. Be perfectly honest with me. Do you like it?
I mean, I like the Gragas Yasuo. The Garen Yumi can be good in some situations. But I think the nerfs to Yumi, specifically just the amount of slows that she lost on the Q, will make it slightly more difficult for Garen to catch up to a target in the later stages, if he even gets to the point where he's able to sort of take over and become unkillable, because he'll ignore almost all of the CC on the side of Nvision, and there is a fair amount of it, but...
The thing that gets me is we talk about champions who you expect to see. You expect to see Mundo, Tahm Kench singed on Watley. We expect to see this Yasuo for Handsome. One of the things we have never ever said is we expect to see high anxiety with a Garen. I've never seen it myself. Now it could be something they've been training, they could be well prepared for, maybe even on 9.19 with the changes to Yumi. If that is the case and they come out and they do a great job and they make idiots out of, certainly out of me, maybe out of you as well, then fair play to them.
To win.
But, well, you did, and I didn't, so, yeah, definitely more so me than you.
No regrets.
But I'm a doubter right now, but I'm ready for them to prove me wrong. And Nvision, I'm ready for them to prove me right, because I said 2-0 to them, and right now I think their draft makes them look good for it.
Certainly, if we take Game 1's performance into account, seems to be the potential way, but... Bear, we've seen some level 1 stuff.
I've seen this story before. The Prancer projectile is going to land onto Antero. However, on that Olaf, he's able to step away from the 5-man death squad of DegreeSports.
Nerfed slow, man. Could have been it. Could have at least been a flash, but...
To be fair, the slow
the
slow isn't nerfed at level 1. It was always 20 at level 1.
No. It was definitely the nerfed slow that was the problem.
We will definitely come back to that one later on, because you still obviously max the Prancer projectile as quickly as possible, getting yourself up to that 80%. Now look at what Artorias is doing, waiting for Watley to walk straight through this bush. Does have the chain of barrels available, already got a little bit of damage onto this Volibear. With 1 minute and 6 in, Watley is going to lose a lot of his health, or potentially have to recall and miss the first wave of minions, or even burn that teleport early. Not the start that Sergeant Volibear would have wanted.
He just doesn't want to be bullied out of lane again, as last time he was having a bit of a scrap with Watley. In the 1v1, Lee Brothers came and killed him off very early into the game. Now, a late invade is what we meant when we said Olaf can potentially take over these games. But then you're going to need to sniff it out.
Now, last time Lee Brothers read things really, really well. New vertical jungling was coming in from Antero, and he himself opted into it. Got both First Blood and stole away a blue buff. Will he be able to do the same again? He's already lost his Raptors. He's going to lose his red buff for sure. If we see Gragas walking south down the map, he's going to have lost so much of his jungle.
This is, again, a little bit of a story of what we had yesterday is Gragas did receive some nerfs to his clear speed, specifically for the buffs. Those high health hit points camps. That ward has just absolutely saved Lee Brothers' bacon, because he's gone straight over to the Raptors, been able to steal this camp away. Meanwhile, Watley's still taking a lot of damage. Artorias going forward, and Watley just immediately having to pop a potion. We have seen Gragas take away the Raptors. He's not going to opt into the red buff, however, as Antero is starting to come up. Should be a 3-buff start now for the Olaf. He will lose the majority of his Raptors camp, but he's already taken all of Max Lee Brothers'. He's going to take both red buffs as well. So the only option now that Lee Brothers has is try and gank this top lane. Artorias is done so much damage. He's already burnt the passive as well from Watley.
Yeah, this is so not dangerous. Really a particularly gankable lane right now, and I don't think there's anything that Gragas is going to do that's going to help Watley secure first blood. Artorias not in the sort of danger he was in game 1.
Could try and help out the Yasuo in mid, but instead, just a bit of trading damage in the bottom lane. High anxiety.
Root is going to land. Garen immediately losing more health than his opposition. We do see that Watley has managed to level himself up, has got a little bit more health than last time when we visited up in the top lane. He's managing to keep just about even on CS despite being forced into turret.
The pressure is definitely on for Watley. He didn't have the great performance in game number 1, so he's going to be trying to turn things around, but he's off to a bit of a rough start as Artorias went for the cheeky play at level 1, and he hasn't been held down either by a gank from the brothers very early, and Antero is kind of taking his pick over which side of the map he wants to play. He's still got camps available on the bottom side.
There's a nice little roam came out of Spark and Propaganda there. They almost managed to stop the Scottish Grab being taken down by Lee Brothers. However, he does get himself that experience. Also going to be able to pick up those trucks nice and easy. Meanwhile, we're going to see the triple buff being completed eventually by this Olaf as he looks towards his own blue buff.
But again, the Gragas can't really gank the bottom lane, at least until Wu hits level 6. There just isn't the lockdown to keep the Kai'Sa and the Nautilus in place, so it just is the story of Antero in both jungles right now.
Artorias, who gave up first blood in the last game, is definitely the most dominant laner in this game so far. Lee Brothers is going to walk himself over a ward. He's going to find his Raptor camp taken away for the second time, and he's going to recall on top of a ward. He's going to throw the barrel out, zone Antero way. Mad My Day not going to step up with the charm this time. Lee Brothers able to get himself an extra little bit of gold from that ward being taken down. One thing to note there is, despite everything that we've got happening, the flash is actually going to be burned by Artorias because the flip was good from Watley, forcing Artorias under turret, and that's going to be a really, really crucial something to see burnt. All I was going to say there is, looking at Lee's CS is really impressive, considering just how far behind he could have been put by Antero. Meanwhile, Handsome, he's on this Yasuo, he's CSing himself up a mountain. He's going to be relevant later on.
Yeah, Max is just finding things to farm on the Gragas, even though there's an Olaf in pretty much everywhere in his jungle, but Watley burning the flash from Artorias is pretty key now, because it actually opens up an avenue for the brothers to have some aggression.
This is going to be High Anxiety doing everything he can to work with this Yuumi and see if Wu can do a good job on the Yuumi. It's not quite the traditional damage dealing support that perhaps we expect to see coming out of Wu, but if it works out well in this game, it could return the series to 1 game all. Ocean Dragon is on the cards, and Terra looks like he can be able to take this one easily enough.
He is a very crucial dragon to pick up for the early laning phase. You saw Artorias had no mana left, and that was a part of the reason why Watley was able to actually get such a favorable trade in the top lane. So just constantly be having that bit of sustain, but here comes the brothers.
That was a flash and a truck of the Artorias over the shoulder. Artorias, of course, without a flash, but because of the turret, it's going to be Watley who gives away first blood. Unfortunate turn of events. Lee Brothers only level 4, not even close to having the explosive cast to put Artorias further into harm's way. Meanwhile, in the top lane, we do see High Anxiety once again stepping forward, once again losing more of his health than Proper Panda or Spark.
Yeah, they were trying to punish the use of teleport to get back into lane, but the brothers just slightly too far back, wasn't able to perfectly land the combo, couldn't get the barrel off for the additional slow and the damage, and that regen passive of Volibear still not available after being blown early on in the lane by Artorias.
Yeah, I really feel like they thought that because obviously the Predator is there on Gragas, that Lee Brothers was going to be able to get there just that little bit quicker, but at the end of the day, he flat out wasn't, and that's what led to first blood for Nvision. They take themselves an over 1,000 gold lead at near 7 minutes. They're looking good to try and take this series 2-0. However, I do like what DegreeSports are doing to an extent. I still feel like we're yet to see the best out of this composition.
Potential now that Handsome could link up with somebody and use that ultimate to try and find a pick to even things up in the kills column, but Proper Panda's hovering around mid lane.
Waiting in the wings. He hasn't got the depth charge available to him just yet. Olaf is going to once again, I believe it's the third and I think there have only been 3 times that those Raptors have been available, and they've each time been taken away by Antero. Such a good chunk of XP. Speaking of chunks, HP is the thing that is missing from Handsome as he takes a charm. He takes damage from Mad My Day. Spark does eat a prancing projectile, but does not get slowed up quite as much as he would have done in the last patch, and that's been a real problem in the bot lane.
Yeah, that's really the issue, is that with Garen Yuumi, you can't punish if this Kai'Sa is just playing relatively passively. Proper Panda's just roaming off with the support, with the jungle. Now they're making their way bot.
Not for the first time this series. We might see ourselves a 3 versus 2 in the bot lane. It does feel like High Anxiety and Wu have got all the tools to keep themselves alive. However, they haven't hit level 6, so we're not going to see an ultimate available. No final chapter for Wu just yet. High Anxiety, however, seems nice and aware in terms of where this Olaf might be. Steps himself away, keeps safe for now.
Mad My Day was rotating down as well, so could have potentially seen a dive. No level 6 on the Nautilus for the guaranteed CC, but no level 6 in response for the DegreeSports bottom lane, and that's really the problem. They can't lock Spark down. Maybe the reduced slow isn't too big an issue if they were able to lock him up with the root from the final chapter, but it's just not there yet.
A near 2k gold lead coming in for Nvision. The UKLC team once again looking strong as we do see Lee Brothers coming in, had the Predator available, however got caught him on a ward, decides to clear that one out rather than trying to put any damage onto Artorias, who immediately steps back, isn't even scared of this 2 versus 1 situation. He's got a 23 CS advantage over Watley and that kill to boot.
Definitely a much better early game on the gangplank for Artorias this time around, not falling victim to the early game aggression of Le Brothers. He gets slightly caught out under the tower once, but suppose that's forgivable. His flash will be back up and available and turned it around even without that summon the spell in the 2 versus 1.
Meanwhile, High Anxiety once again going forward. This time the final chapter is used. The flash is going to secure a route. Here comes the cannon barrage. Is not in time to save Spark. High Anxiety gets himself a kill. Proper Panda does not return to the lane in time, and that's a nice free easy kill. A flash was burnt by High Anxiety. Ignite was burnt by Wu. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Watley is going to drop down. Artaris is going lower and lower. Has got the flash available. Isn't going to need it. Just eats an orange and keeps himself safe. Gets a turret play. Gets a kill. Nice times for Nvision.
Could have potentially been a little sketchy for Nvision there, as Watley propped the Aftershock, so was slightly tankier than expected, but the true damage came through from Antero, and all was okay, as is the gangplank way. But as soon as the level 6 was picked up on this bottom lane, things get a lot less safe for Spark, as he just gets taken down. But you see, the Aftershock makes him pretty difficult to actually take down, but just so much true damage. The barrel explosion, there's not much that he's going to be able to do to regen through that. It all came down as one big burst, and Watley falls for a second time.
We ended up not with much to talk about in the top lane in the last game, but we have to say that in both games, Artorias' cannon barrages have been fairly on point. Last time it wasn't quite enough to save Spark, however he does seem to be able to help his team out with that global ultimate pretty much on a whim and still be able to use the rest of the abilities to secure kills, as he showed so well there against Watley. Couple of turret plates being secured here by the bot lane. Spark and Proper Panda sticking around. Gragas is hovering in the wings, does have the Predator available if he wants to look for a big gank.
We are yet to see the combination of either the Gragas or the Volibear combined with Yasuo to try and make a pick happen, so could potentially be looking for that. Maybe Mad My Day will be the target. 1 CS between the 2 mid laners, so things neck and neck here, but everywhere else doesn't seem to be swinging either one way or the other. Just a 2,000 gold lead for Nvision. It's not too big of a deal this time around because DegreeSports have not committed to the early game in as much of a way. They still have the Garen Yuumi, which is incredibly strong in the late game, so notoriously difficult to take down, and they have the win condition of Handsome on a Yasuo. So as long as things don't get too far out of hand and Nvision don't use this Rift Herald in a way that is going to completely accelerate the game, they might get away with it.
Watley with really good damage here onto Artorias. However, we are going to see the gangplank eating the oranges. Meanwhile, a catch onto Proper Panda, who's been stunned up, have to use the stopwatch. High Anxiety and the brothers are going to get straight onto Panda, who flashed himself away. We see Herald is going to be summoned. However, Spark is having to fend off 2 under his turret, doing a damn good job of it as well, as Handsome and High Anxiety do not have the damage to finish off the Kaiser. The Nautilus flash to safety. Beautiful plays coming out of Nvision.
A little bit of a disconnect there on who will be the priority target, as Handsome did go under the tower, does eventually finish off Spark, does Wu. Well, that's the trade for it, and this is exactly what he said. As long as they can't use this Rift Herald to accelerate the game, but that is exactly what Nvision will do, as the tower dive was not completely clean. They split their focus a little bit, took longer than expected to take down Spark, and it's the 3 towers in mid lane potentially is the response.
Very, very close to a 12-minute inhibitor. Inhibitor turret. Not quite going to happen in the end, but definitely a nice acceleration coming in from Nvision. Meanwhile, look what they are looking for in the top lane. Watley completely caught out. Is going to find a Ragnaroking Olaf on his face. Charm is going to land from the Ahri. Mad My Day gets his first kill of the game. Meanwhile, there are more turret plates to be gained still. We've still got a minute and 30 seconds till they fall off. High Anxiety is trying to get himself forward. Wu is there to back him up. Handsome coming in as well, still looking for a really big final breath. Meanwhile, it is going to be a runaway time for Nvision. They get themselves a couple of turret plates, a kill, they get out, easy. Nice times for them.
And again, just on the bottom side of the map, Spark is just chilling out, farming some minions, taking some plates for himself, not feeling any pressure as there is just nobody in this lane. So really just drawing every single member of the DegreeSports lineup towards the top side. Yes, they have just dived Spark. It wasn't particularly clean, but they did eventually pick up the kill, but just a trade back for Nvision. 2 towers in the mid lane, a huge chunk of damage on the mid lane inhibitor turret as well. And then a pick off in top and some free time to Spark to farm is definitely worth it for them. Now, how does Handsome farm this mid lane without being absolutely terrified that Antero is just waiting on the wings to run him down?
Interesting potential fighters. We do see the flashboard. The knockup is going to land onto Antero. Spark also forced away. However, no kills picked up. Teleport coming in towards this Ocean Dragon. It's going to be Spark with a killer instinct dashing forward. However, getting absolutely obliterated by Handsome as he gets his first kill onto this Yasuo. Now the teleport comes in. That's going to be Artorias immediately sealing his own face. He tries to flash, but Watley is there to chop off the head of the pirate. And it's going to be an equalizer of Ocean Dragons as DegreeSports finally find some key kills.
There we go. That's the combo we're waiting for with the Gragas and the Yasuo. Body Slam flashes into 2, but again, it's 5 members are still taking this dragon, 2 now recalling. There was a bit of a beeline down the mid for Nvision, looking like they were trying to finish off that inhibitor tower, but instead they will turn their attention towards top lane, open up that side of the map. Baron is still about 5 or 6 minutes away from spawning, so it's kind of just investing in their own future right now, but if they're able to start taking control over this side of the map, get rid of the top lane in a turret as well, it becomes so much harder to contest.
That was more like it though. That was DegreeSports showing us what they can do in this game, what they're going to have to do if they want to equalize this series.
Gonna have to definitely see more from them, and probably we're going to need to see more defensive stats because that first item Tiamat has not been working out in the laning phase, but he's definitely having impact in the fights as well. And there it is, the flash body slam onto 2. Spark almost gets away with the killer instinct, but he dives back in to try and finish off LeBrothers.
Stopwatch is good.
Just straight into Watley. Handsome finishes that one off nice and easily. Artorias teleporting into 5 members. Maybe he misclicked. Maybe he was trying to cannon barrage there. It's still not on cooldown, so maybe.
I mean, it could be right. I mean, you know, R&D are kind of close on the keyboard, but we are looking at a much closer game now on the back of that Ocean Dragon, on the back of those kills being picked up by DegreeSports. They've got a kill lead, but they are still nearly 4,000 gold down. However, they are looking for potential kills. High Anxiety does have the flash available, could get himself out of trouble if he wants. Instead, the fight is being opted for. We see the Lead Brothers absolutely obliterating Mad My Day, and Darrow does manage to take down Handsome. A lot of damage is there before the last breath can come through, and that is going to be a double kill for the Olaf. A 3-for-1 in favor of Nvision.
Yeah, High Anxiety was just not in the ideal spot there. He sort of went into the Baron pit. There was 4 members already collapsing onto him. Really, the only ideal situation is just to flash over the wall and regroup with your team, but they tried to go for the aggressive play to blow up the backline, but weren't quite able to do so.
It almost worked, but we've got to come out of that replay because the fights are continuing. Prompt Panda this time is the one caught out. It's going to be Volibear getting the kill. Teleports now coming through. Lee Brothers is so very low, and it's going to be Man My Day who is here taking out Lee Brothers, getting himself his second kill of the game. The Luden's Echo double buffed Ahri is now going to be an absolute horror to have to deal with. DegreeSports are losing turrets all across the map. They are now going to be 5 turrets to 0 down as this one falls.
Garen still level 9. Level 13 is typically the mark where we say, okay, this Garen is really online with the full amount of tenacity that he gets from maxing the W, but he's just not there yet. Might find the Ahri here, though.
Mad My Day is slightly caught out, does have the ultimate available, however, potentially dash away. We do see High Anxiety coming around. Handsome is there trying to get these static shift procs, trying to get himself as much of the CS as possible. He has by far the most CS on his team and currently has the highest in the game. However, only that 1 kill so far for the Yasuo. Looking at the item, well, first of all, looking at the gold, there's some pretty big leads there for all of the Nvision players. However, looking at the items for the Garen, you talk about him needing to get to level 13. He also needs to start hitting some of those item spikes. Not even the Black Cleaver completed yet. Charm is going to land onto Handsome. Mad My Day dashing himself away, trying to stay safe long enough for Proper Panda to enter the fray to make this a 2 versus 1. Handsome's going to find himself a wind wall. He's going to dash forward to Proper Panda, but in the end it is going to be the Nautilus that slays the Yasuo.
Yeah, just not a lot that he can do in that scenario. Just gets caught out a little bit, just trying to find some sort of aggression back, but
Antero decides to try and contest his vision. He can't disable, so that last chapter is not going to be enough to lock him down. However, he is going to get deleted by the Garen. So across the map so far, it is a 1-for-1. However, the push is being continued in the bot lane by both Proper Panda and also Mad My Day. Meanwhile, 3 and make that 4 members with the Yuumi Strong are looking towards finally getting a turret for DegreeSports. They haven't got many minions around, though. They're definitely going to lose this turret in the bot lane. Can they get anything in return? No, they can't.
It's so rough. That, like, just Spark by himself has enough wave clear. Doesn't even have the completed Mura mana. Never mind, even a Ginsu's is the second item, but he just clears enough of the wave that they're not able to shove down the tower. And they still lose a second inner one in their bot lane. It's still 0 towers picked up for DegreeSports here.
Bit of vision being cleared out around this dragon, which is going to be an Infernal spawning in around about 45 seconds. DegreeSports have got themselves a control ward in the pit. Will certainly be looking to contest. They can't afford to give too many objectives over to Nvision.
Watley has finished his Titanic Hydra, 18.5 minutes into the game. So maybe now he can start building tank and should be a little harder to take down, because every time I've seen his passive proc, I see maybe 1 or at best 2 ticks of health come back, but the burst damage from Nvision is just a little bit too much for him to deal with without the defensive stats to back it up.
Panda's going to get caught out here. He does manage to use his hook to get himself to safety. However, now we do see the cannon barrage coming in. This is going to be Artorias putting down damage basically from his own base. Meanwhile, Antero and the rest of the Nvision squadron are circling around the team. The Charm is going to land onto high anxiety. That's going to be the Garen taken so low. He is trying to keep himself alive. However, it's not going to work because Proper Panda gets that kill. Meanwhile, Handsome dashing himself on the Spark is not quite able to get the kill. The Ignite wasn't enough. And now look at the turnaround. The flash forward from Watley. He wants to get himself kills. He wants to get those Titanic Hydra procs, but Spark's putting damage down. He managed to get double kill, but now here comes Spark. It's going to be a kill for Mad My Day in the end. Infernal Dragon will almost certainly go over to Nvision. They get themselves a whole series of kills onto their carries. They get themselves boosted damage as well. Charm is going to land onto the Gragas. The fact is, though, that Antero is not here. This is a potential steal opportunity for Lee Brothers. He manages to get a bit of vision down into the pit. Can the 3 versus 2 work with the Gragas and the Yuumi? Lee Brothers says, nope, this is not worth my life. I'll give you the Infernal Dragon.
He didn't have Smite up and available, so wasn't worth going for the overcommit to try and steal that one away. But the way that fight starts off is with high anxiety, doesn't have the Yuumi attached to him, so doesn't get a little bit of additional tankiness or movement speed. And again, he's not at level 13 yet, so as soon as he gets tagged up by that Charm, by Proper Panda, he just gets locked down and he doesn't get to use that key ultimate in the fight that would have been enough to maybe knock down one of those low health members. Spark got away from Handsome on such low hit points at the end of that. The Triumph keeping him just barely alive through the Ignite procs.
It's been really close fights, actually. Despite the 6,000 gold lead that's now been gained by Nvision, DegreeSports are much more into these fights than they were in the last game of this series. They, for me, still very much so have a chance if they can find just the right fight. However, things are starting to look a little bit more desperate for them, and it is going to take a really good set of plays to really actually help DegreeSports come through, make this series 1 game all, as we now see Vision being put down around the Baron. No arm. Watley is going to find himself a 1 versus 1 against Artorias. He manages to get the flip. The barrel is going to be chunked down. This does mean that Watley has to step himself away. Artorias just with a big speed boost. That's going to be a flash forward. Spark is going to get himself caught out. We're going to see a spin coming in from high anxiety. Does have the black cleaver completed now. However, he's just not ripping through the health bar quick enough with the Karen barrage coming down. That's going to be 2 quick kills picked up for Nvision. That's going to be Spark is removed by Handsome. However, he's now caught out by 2. He tries to dash forward, tries to dash back. Got Lee Brothers for company. Handsome's going to get himself to safety, but I don't think Lee Brothers is going to be quite so fortunate. The wind is going to go in favor of Nvision. The tornado was good, but not good enough. DegreeSports all fall apart from the Volley Bear, and the 4 remaining members of Nvision turn towards the Baron.
It's just so hard to find picks with the Garen Yuumi now. They commit the flash, they commit the final chapter, and Spark still just gets away with it, and it takes such an intense commit. With Le Brothers using the ultimate combination to get Handsome on top of it. They do eventually take Spark down, but that is all that is picked up for DegreeSports in that fight. They lose 4 members. Watley was not able to get involved in the fight after his little scrap with Artorias, and It's a Baron buff picked up for Nvision.
Whatley and DegreeSports still to take a single turret in this game. Yes, that means there's a lot of standing gold still on the field of play for them to be able to get, but right now they're not even able to get close to those outer turrets, let alone anything else.
It ain't going to get any easier now that Nvision have the Baron buff in their favor, and they haven't been clean aced as soon as they picked it up, unlike game 1. The bounty is up and available on the top 3 members for Nvision. All of the new members for this squad performing well beyond expectations in this particular game. Whatley's had a nice turnaround. He's 4-4, so he has been having impact in the team fights, but really, if they're just not able to lock down the key targets of Spark and Mad My Day, it's just not quite been enough so far. They're still down about 9,000 gold, which is slightly less than what they had in the previous game. It's not insurmountable, but what they really need is time, and they ain't gonna get that if the Nvision is putting so much pressure down now.
In the last game, it felt like it was all about what Spark could do. As we do see the barrel being used, that's going to be Spark completely caught out. We're just talking about him, and he's already dead. Handsome removes that one from the fight. That means it's now a 5-4 in favor of DegreeSports. They also managed to get the cannon barrage out of the gangplank as well. He's continuing his push in the bot lane. The charm is going to land onto High Anxiety. He's got Whatley for company, however. Mad My Day not going to go forward onto this one. A turret did fall again in favor of Nvision. Now 6 turrets to 0. Every outer and inner turret is gone, I believe. Oh, sorry, no. That was actually the
inhibitor turret.
That was the inhibitor turret.
They charged down earlier on.
Oh, here comes the charm landing onto Whatley, who's trying to chase down Antero. This is going to be a 3 versus 4 in the jungle of DegreeSports. Here comes Handsome. He's arriving too late to the party. Already we see Volibear dead. Whatley is gone, but what can the rest of his team do? With the charm landing, we're going to see Artorias taking down the Yasuo, taking down the Yuumi, looking towards the Elite Brothers, who does manage to get a shutdown, but finds Mad My Day immediately dashing forward. The charm will be available. It will connect onto this Gragas. Teleports coming in. This could be the end of the game. Spark comes through, who's already ripping through this inhibitor. There is going to be a Baron-empowered minion wave coming onto the Nexus turrets of DegreeSports, and they will be breathing their last breath in this series if High Anxiety cannot make the most godly of saves. One Nexus turret already dropping down below half health. Another wave is now arriving for Nvision. There are going to be some death timers coming up soon, about 5 or 6 more seconds. Can this final Nexus turret fall? Can High Anxiety make the big save? He's spinning, but he's not winning. It's going to be the 4 versus 1. Antero is going to get yet another kill, and now we can see, here comes No One Whatley. He's got Yuumi for company, but he's lost all his health bar. The Nexus is down below half health. Spark is staying alive just about. Handsome not able to get that kill. Here he goes. He's trying to take down Spark, but here comes yet another teleport. The triple kill for Antero. The shutdown is there, but it's not enough. The base is dead, and that is DegreeSports' dreams lying in ruins as Nvision progress to the next round of the Forge of Champions.
It was a desperate attempt to try and hold on to the Nexus at the end of the game as the respawn timers were coming through, but all in all, not quite enough. Antero picks up a triple at the end of the game to close it out, and really, Nvision just kind of had control of that one from the get-go. As soon as Artorias actually went for that level 1 play and bullied Whatley around and just took control of that lane, Whatley was never in a position to actually catch up far enough in gold to build those defensive stats. And just before that final push, you saw how squishy Whatley was in that scrap around the red buff. 2 auto attacks, a couple of E's from Olaf, he's already out of the fight, and that is not what you want to see from your tanky boy in the top lane.
We said, is Volibear a Whatley champion? We said we can build health on it. Well, he didn't build health on it. He built the fake tanky item. It's the one that I built to convince myself that I'm being a little bit tanky and helping my team when actually I really want the damage stats. And in the end, it didn't work out for Whatley, who got really bullied by Artorias, who, along with Antero and also Mad My Day, was a real star performer in that game. Game 1 for Nvision was all about their former members in the UKLC. It was about proper Panda and Spark in the bot lane. Yeah. Game number 2, all of a sudden the newcomers came and they showed what they could do. And now they'll be able to progress themselves through the Forge of Champions into the next round of the bracket.
Yeah, they'll be facing up against Phelan, who had that miracle run in the gauntlet, so they will need to maintain that form that they found in this series up against DegreeSports, who really, they needed a little bit more time in the second game. In the first game, they needed the game to be much shorter to go in their favor. In this one, they needed it to go a little bit longer. To find the second items, maybe on the Yasuo, might have been enough to get that level 13 on Garen. Maybe have Yuumi being able to start actually dishing out enough damage to make it work as a secondary source, but well played from Nvision to just stifle any sort of that aggression. The CC was just too much for the Garen and the Volibear to find the chase downs onto the key targets in the majority of the fights.
As with all the teams who have come in and inherited one of the slots here in the Forge of Champions, congratulations to DegreeSports not only for getting that slot, but also for coming and making a real game of it. They're going up against, real professional players who are absolutely fantastic. DegreeSports themselves with a lot of pedigree. They've got, many Null split wins, the NSC split win as well, and they've gone over to different countries to play in the University Esports Masters. They weren't quite able to make it here on this slightly bigger stage. However, they did themselves a real credit.
Yeah, they still have the option in the promotion tournament at the end of Forge of Champions, though, that maybe if they can fix some of those issues that they were having, could definitely make a statement there. But for now, their run in Forge of Champions will be over alongside all of the other members of the promotion teams from the Belong Arena, from the Open Tournament, and now NSE have fallen. So the Insomnia representatives is all that we have left for one final best of 3.
That'll be a Bulldog Esports, as the team that formerly were in the UKLC but got themselves relegated. They find themselves here in Forge of Champions, something of a redemption arc coming in our next best of 3 series as they go up against Enclave. Well, I wonder just how that game will turn out. Will they be able to swing the tide? I mean, let's take a moment to talk about predictions. I believe Hitbrain, he said DegreeSports. Orcs said DegreeSports, so they were obviously going to lose. For some reason, you went along with Orcs and also said DegreeSports.
They asked me after they did them. I didn't see their picks first. Come on, yeah. I gotta believe in the boys.
I'm just trying to remember what Greyheart said.
He wasn't on the sheet. It's unofficial. Okay, so Tibbers could have said he went for 2-0.
Tibbers, did you? Tibbers isn't saying anything, but I'm saying I went for 2-0. Congratulations to Nvision, who made me look really, really smart. And for now, we are going to take a small break, I believe, but we are going to be back with that second best of 3 series very, very soon. Oh, we get an opportunity to look at the bracket before we take our break.
Cool. So this is how things have shaped out. Nvision taking the 2-0. It's pretty clean sweep in the terms of the 2-0s so far on this left side of the bracket. The UKLC teams definitely showing up and proving their mettle so far in Forge of Champions in the best of 3s. Enclave will be looking to repeat that in our final best of 3 of the day for their opportunity to face up against M&M Gaming in round 2 of Forge of Champions.
Alrighty, so that is how the bracket now lies. I'm looking forward to that final series. I think it's, coming into it, looking at it, was the one that I thought was probably the hardest to predict in terms of who was going to come out of it. A team that formerly played in UKLC up against a team currently playing in it. Roster changes for both of those teams. Ego Speed looking to come back and try and re-establish himself as a bit of a household name, the self-proclaimed Prince of Top Lane, but he wasn't one of the main members of the last game. Now I just need to know, who was the MVP coming out that last game.
Yeah, I believe we're going to have... Oh, my goodness. That is a KDA and a half right
sure
there.
Is. 30 He's a good-looking fella, that Mad My Day.
KDA on Mad My Day. The fresh face in the mid lane for Nvision.
Very fresh.
Definitely coming up very strong on the Ahri and on the Veigar as well. So traditional mages, a lot of zone control. He definitely made it work very, very well. He's been picking up so much in terms of CC, so much usability in the team fights, just utility, just locking down any of the frontline members of DegreeSports and just allowing Spark and the gang just to shred through them, guys.
Alrighty, congratulations, Mad My Day. Congratulations, Nvision. Best of luck up against Phelan, who now know their opponents in the next round. We're cutting to a small break now, but like I said, we'll be back with that best of 3 series between Enclave and Bulldog Esports, so don't go anywhere.